Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for coming. So before we start the new material, so a few things I want to mention. Number one, regarding to office hour. So please just send me an email whenever you want to talk to me. But of course, so in terms of mutual convenience, and then so I will send you a Zoom link so that you can ask me any questions. This is number one. And then number two, regarding to the assignments. So the syllabus quiz will be due January 23rd, I believe. There's some confusion regarding to the syllabus quiz, so I will explain to you question by question in later today. Because remember, for the ease of exposition, so I decide to divide our class in 3 blocks, like 20 minutes each, right? And I also prefer you hold your questions towards the end of each block so that we have a better communication, right? And the other things I want to mention is we have assessment questions. Again, so this assessment is only for evaluating the teaching effectiveness. It has nothing to do with your grade. Okay, don't worry. And plus, so there's a due date to finish that, and so you may want to make a note for the last questions, because the last questions will help you to get some credits for future quizzes, right? So that's all you need to do now. All right, so before I show you today's material, let me show you an article I read today. So this is from Wall Street Journal. Right, so in the morning, actually in each Thursday, so the US, there's a government agency, they report the labor market data, right? So this labor market data is very, very important. It has been keep track closely by business, by central bank, and by the government, right? And so this job market or the labor market data reflects the health of the economy, right? So the health of the economy is very important for business to make their business decision. It's also important for the government to decide what policy they want to carry out in the future, right? So I cannot say more about the importance of this. Here, I want to share this piece of information with you, just further illustrate the economic situation we are right now, and also further emphasize the importance of taking macroeconomics. And actually, later in this class, so you will understand how they are going to come up these numbers. By the way, so this is the initial unemployment claim. Okay. You can see at the beginning of last year, so the number jumped from close to 0 to close to 7 million, and then so declined rather rapidly. But unfortunately, this number just keep staying there, close to 1 million. Okay, so those are very important. And again, so we will learn how they come up this number later, right? So this is one thing. There's all the things I want to say before class. Now let's move to our new material. So this is for the module 1, I would say, because yes, Tuesday we just have an introduction for this class. Now we move to the first module. So in the first module, what we are going to do, we are going to review some principles in microeconomics. Okay, so whether you have taken micro or not, so this is a good opportunity for you to catch up, right? So if you have learned those, and this is like a review. If you haven't learned, and then so this is a brand new information for you. Okay, so those are the very essential things for us to understand macro. Okay, depending on which textbook you have, it may correspond to a different chapter. But just in case you don't have a textbook, don't worry. So just follow the lecture notes closely and work on the practice question. You should do well, right? So now let's see. So what we're going to do in this lecture. So this is going to I'm going to spend 2 classes on this lecture. Okay? And here, so we are going to look at 2 big things. One, we are going to look at a set of principles for understanding the economics of how individuals make choices. Right. So this principle includes, for example, you may heard about earlier, like there's no free lunch. Right. So we need to understand what that means in economics. Okay. So those are set of principles. And then in the second half, we are going to look at production possibility frontier and opportunity cost. So this PPF, this production possibility frontier, short for PPF. We will see these PPF many times in the future class. Okay, so that's very important. Okay, now let's first look at a set of principles for understanding how individuals make choices in economics terms. Okay. So first, choice. Right? Choice is in the heart of economics. Okay, so we have to make choice every day, almost any time, right? And so, like in this background pictures, these 2 gentlemen, they must choose, right? And then in this particular circumstance, they must choose: should I wear a face mask in the public or not, right? And actually, so their choice will not only affect themselves, also it's going to affect others, right? And then, so in economics, you may wondering, so why we have to make choice, right? So here's just one example, and then so we have plenty of other examples. So example, so you may wondering, should I take principle macroeconomics with Professor Fang or not, right? So you decide to take class with me. Maybe you have heard good words. So Professor Fang is very, very knowledgeable. So that's the pro, or that's a plus. But then, so after you take the first day of a class, and then you realize, so Professor Fang can be boring, and he has very strong accent. So this is a very big negative. So, and then, so for you, you need to wait between the positive and the negative in terms of taking class with me. So that's the choice you have to take, right? Okay, and then other example is, so today is very windy, right? So some students understand you may have to work, and then so the road condition can be difficult. And then so you may wondering, should I call my manager, take 1 day off or not, right? So if I keep my plan, go to work, and then maybe there's a risk, okay, in terms of traffic accident. But if I stay at home and then so I lose the pay, and then furthermore, that may send a back signal to my manager, says this gentleman or this lady, this young lady, doesn't work hard enough, right? So that just gives you another example of choice. Now let's see. So why we have to make choice? So this is in terms of economics, right? Choices are necessary because resources are scarce, right? So here there are 2 things. One, resources. The other is scarcity, right? So because the resources are scarce, so that's what we have to make choice, right? So now let's first look at what does resource means and what does scarce means. So resource are anything that can be used to produce something else, right? So in the example I just started with, right? So the resource there is probably like attention or the political support, right? So President Trump and the President-elect Biden, so they both need support from their voter, right? And so those resources are limited, right? And then so they are going to use their decision or their public appearance to convince their voter. So I am the right president for you. Okay, But unfortunately, so this support, or in our language, this resource is limited, right? Or and then so what's that's why they need to make a choice whether I wear a mask or not, right? And then so when I say limited in some sense, it just refers to the scarce, as we see here. What is scarce? It's just in short supply. A resource is scarce when there's not enough the resource available to satisfy all the various way a society wants to use it, right? Other example, right? So I just mentioned, so when weather becomes terrible, right, you may not want to go to work. And then so you're facing the choice, right? So, but however, if the resources is plenty, in that particular case, if you have plenty of money, right, so you may not need to bother. So whether should I go to work or not, right? So this should give you several examples to show you what is a resource and what is scarce, right? So because resources are scarce, and then so we have make choice, right? So should we take A versus should take B? Like in the first example, should I wear a face mask to show my rotor, or should I not wear a mask, right? So if I wear a mask, depending on who is my audience, they may support me or they may don't like me, right? But then so I need to win enough support. In this case, like resources. So this is the support is going to determine whether I can be the next president or not. And then so this becomes to political power that's going to allows me to carry my agenda or carry my policy, right? So that is resource and scarce. So you should be able to find many other examples. And so you are going to face choice every day. Right. Now, the second principle, the true cost of something is its opportunity cost. So here, the key thing is opportunity cost. What is opportunity cost? Okay. So what you must give up in order to get something, that is the opportunity cost, right? For example, so you come to class from 10:30 to 11:45, and then you give up the opportunity to do something more profitable, more fun, more valuable to you. And then whatever you give up so that you can come to my class is the opportunity cost. Because there are so many variety of things you can do. And then so clearly opportunity cost is the highest value things you must give up. Same example. So there are two things you can do if you not come to class. One, just sleep. The other is, so you just work. And so you have a very high paid job. So for example, be a tutor for like playing some chess or tennis, just for example. And your hourly pay is $50. And then so you come to my class, you're going to give out roughly $60 because this is 1 hour and 50 minutes, right? And then if you just sleep, you probably won't benefit much because you are young, you are healthy. So this extra 1 hour of sleep, particularly during the daytime, probably won't help you too much. So in that sense, the opportunity cost is going to be the money forgone while you sitting in my class, right? But instead you cannot make. So this opportunity cost. And another example in this background picture, so this famous young gentleman, Mark Zuckerberg, he dropped out of Harvard. Okay, and then so just imagine if he instead he stayed with Harvard until his graduation. And then what was the opportunity cost? The opportunity cost will be the foregone business opportunity, or in other words, will be the fortune he can make by building up this social network impact, right? So that is his opportunity cost, right? Just keep in mind, so this opportunity cost is different from the accounting cost in your accounting class, right? So in accounting, so what is the cost? Essentially, it's the cost to replace something. So if you get more the cost of replacing a broken screen of your iPhone, the cost of upgrade your computer, right? So those are the costs to replace. But here, the cost is what you have to give up if you doing something, right? Okay, now move to the third principle. Okay, how much is the decision at the margin? Right. Now here, so we have a concept called trade-offs. Okay, what is trade-off? Trade-off essentially is a comparison of the cost and the benefit of doing something. Right. So you weight between plus and the minus when you decide or when you contemplate regarding to do or not, right? Use this background picture as example. Okay, so you may hungry at some point during the day. Okay, and then so there's a there's a candy bar in front of you, and then so you may decide first, should I take a bite or not? Second, how many bites should I take, or how many candy bars should I take, right? And then clearly, so you are facing a trade-off. The trade-off refers to positive and a negative, or the benefit versus the cost, right? And then so here we get these, or the cost and the benefit. So what is the cost? So the candy bar for sure is going to cost you some resource, like money. And beside that, so the candy bar is going to cost you your health, because the more sugar you have, and then so the more health problem you can potentially accumulate. But yes, certainly you need minimum amount of sugar, right? But so if you exceed that required amount of sugar, and then the extra bite will brings you health problem. So that's the obvious cost. Okay? Now what's the benefit? And it clearly, so the benefit is, so this candy bar can give you satisfaction, can gives you calorie very quickly, right? So, and then when you make your decision, you're going to make a trade-off between you, or you do the comparison between the cost and the benefit. And then when will you stop to take another bite? And then so clearly that's when the cost exceed benefit, because at that point, additional bite will brings you more cost than benefit. Or in other words, the net benefit will be negative. Or put it differently, so the extra bite will cost you in net term. And then so it becomes a bad thing for you to do, right? But summarize here, so the key things is your decision is at the margin, meaning the last bite you want take or not. But how are you going to make your decision regarding to the last bite? And then so you do trade-off analysis. You're just comparing the positive side and the negative side, right? So this is the third principle. Okay, so now let's just take a quick break, and then so we continue our discussion.